episode of Cards to Yards, a sports card and sports podcast. I'm here with Lou this time.
Hey, thanks. Thanks for bringing me along.
Yeah, you are one of the main guys up here in the Adventure Stadium that's on top of Adventure Begins Comics and Games in Conroe, Texas. Summer's wrapped up. How's the shop been?
The shop has been actually really good.
Yeah.
Some releases have been slower than others because of delays and production delays. But other than that, we've been doing really, really well. A lot of kids coming in with their families and enjoying some of this wax that we have up here. But to say the least, I mean, it's been great. It's been a great summer.
And then, of course, they're getting ready for back to school.
Back to school, yes. So I think some went back yesterday.
So maybe they'll have some incentive to get good grades. Maybe their parents will bring them back, incentivize some report cards coming up.
That's a great thing you talked about that, right? So we actually do have a program that we have we're putting in place. Bring your report cards. They get certain amounts for A's and certain amounts for B's for store credit, and they get to go around and shop around.
Fantastic.
It's awesome. I think it's a great program. But also what I've been telling mothers and fathers as well, too, is that I don't want them just to do good in school. I want them to do good as well at home. Mm-hmm. So if they're not doing well at home, then that kind of counters the whole thing, and I'm not going to give you nothing.
Yeah. And incentivize it all across the board, and I think that helps the parents become invested in that as well, too.
Yes, right? They do. They bring them up here, and then some parents actually get into it with them. So collecting wise, and it opens up a whole new bonding moment for kids and their family.
And then as far as the hobby itself goes, it's going to be a very interesting time because we're going to have like daily updates from NFL training camp, NFL preseason games. It's going to be, you know how it is with especially the rookies that people are going to be focused on, and players that stepping up in new roles like Trey Lance, players trying to maintain the stats they've achieved like Joe Burrow. It's going to be pretty crazy in that regard. And then, of course, October baseball.
Can't wait.
And then as soon as all that fervor of the postseason gets here and the Yankees start complaining about how now they still can't beat the Astros in the postseason because they're like 2-8 in their last 10, and they're like, oh, don't worry, the regular season doesn't matter because of course the Astros are finally tied with them for best record in the AL, and then they're going to change their tune and go, well, okay.
Well, first off, I mean, who says that the regular season doesn't matter? Seeding does matter.
Sure.
Home field advantage is a true thing. I mean, like that momentum that drives the team. So whoever tells you regular season doesn't matter, that's completely false.
Right.
We've seen it happen time and time over again.
Sure.
So Yankees, I'm in a neutral spot. All right. Born and raised in New Jersey. Family was all Yankees and Mets fans. Mm-hmm. I was always the underdog. I just didn't like the same team, so I chose the Braves.
Hey, I know a lot of people here that did that I grew up with. They chose teams like the Braves.
Yeah.
They chose, guys a little bit younger than me. They chose the Patriots, which ended up being a great move.
Yeah, that wasn't. That eventually turned out to be one.
Even when the Oilers moved away, I had to choose the Bucks. So. That paid off in the Tony Dungy era.
But at the end of the day, we're fans of the sport.
Sure.
That's me. I'm fans of the sport, and then my team comes next. So to be able to see all the mini camps happening, to be able to see all these young guys from last year getting their feet wet, getting the butterflies out, to see what they're going to do this year I'm like really ecstatic about it. Look what happened last year.
Yeah.
Joey B came back from an ACL, MCL tear and took the Bengals, who nobody would ever seen this coming, to the Super Bowl.
Right.
Granted, they didn't win, but they went up against I want to say that's the Golden State Warriors of the NFL. I mean, we pretty much paid for a championship there.
Yeah.
But, I mean, just to see what they're going to do now, it just really excites me. So.
And then also, speaking of, we talked about baseball and football, and then hockey and basketball are going to start up. We have insane drama again with Kevin Durant and where's he going to go.
Oh my gosh,
we're going to have all that training camp, and
I just don't want to ever hear anything about LeBron James choosing his teams or moving around different teams. Kevin Durant right now is being such a huge baby.
Yeah.
He just wants it handed to him on a golden platter, which I have lost all respect for the guy. And you got to do a little bit of work. You get paid all this money. Put in some work.
Well, also, putting your job and on the line is one thing, but putting someone else's job out on
Did
the
you
line,
see
like,
that?
Like where he basically gave an ultimatum, like if Steve Nash is here, I'm not. It's like, dude, like even if you had that feeling, you're really going to put him and his coaching staff out on the street.
What would you do?
What would I do? I would just
As the owner of the Brooklyn Nets, and your star guy comes to you and gives you that ultimatum.
I'd pick the team because it's not like, I mean, what have they won with him?
I mean, well, at the end of the day, team is not a one man. It's not a one man team. It's we're talking about 12 to 14 guys on one team. So, but they're asking entirely too much for the guy. I think one of the proposals was like 6 first-round picks.
Well, I mean,
next born, and all your meals.
If you look at the Harden trade and then the Carmelo trade years before when he was still top 10 player, Denver ended up getting what, 4?
I think
4
4
first rounders. So six first rounders is not out of the question. But if you're that team mortgaging your future for that, for a guy who has 3 or 4 years left, and you can just pull this again every offseason, why? Well, what's the point?
Sit down, shut up, play the game if you want. That's all I gotta say.
Speaking of playing in games, you went to Atlantic City.
Yes.
Which has a lot of fun stuff to do, but you went for the National. So tell me about that. I've been to San Diego Comic-Con, New York Comic-Con on the comic book, collector end, but the biggest card show I've been to is like also TriStar Houston, which is
that was the biggest one I've been to before this one.
Before that one.
Yes.
But this is like massive, and all the big YouTubers, breakers, whatnots are there. Tell me the experience.
This it was. Don't get me wrong. If you're in the hobby, this is something that you need to at least experience once. Mm-hmm. It's different. It really is compared to your like your TriStars and your Dallas Card Show. It's big. It's like, wow, this is pretty cool. A lot of vendors, a lot of people. But when you go to this, where there's a convention center like 15 times the size of the TriStar event, you can't even you're on the other side and you trying to see the other end and you can't. And you walk 20 minutes on a straight bead without stopping anywhere, just to realize that you're only halfway through. That's big. And wise, I mean, we're talking, I want to say probably about, if you ever been to Dallas Card Show or TriStar, I want to say about 5 to 10 times as big.
Yeah.
And everything is very condensed. So the way they had it laid out was actually really, really neat. In the middle, we called it the black hole because that's where everybody got drawn to. And you had everybody, Panini, Topps, Onyx, Leaf, just all your big guys, Fanatics, everybody you can think of. I can go down the list all day. But right from there, then around them was like the next layer, which was like your big vendors, such as Dave & Adams, Blowout Cards, Steel City, and some other smaller vendors. Then the next the next layer around there were more vendors, but lower end. And then there was one section where it was called Breakers Pavilion, which you had like Whatnot. You had Backyard Breaks there. You had Whatnot personnel. You had Drip. All the big social media personnel, all in one area. That drew so many people.
Oh, yeah.
And then on one end, like an L shape, they had Beckett, PSA, HGA, all your grading, SGC, all your grading personnel. And then on the other side, that's where you had all your autographs, where you can get your autographs. A lot. As you guys, I wish I had a floor plan to show you guys this, but so it was very, very overwhelming. A lot of people. Now, on the first day, which was a Wednesday, exclusive to VIP to get in there first to kind of, see how it was. So that first day, it was like, oh, this ain't going to be so bad. I'm like, okay, there's a lot of VIP, super VIP, etc. This isn't going to be too bad. It wasn't crowded, but we can make our way through. And then the next day, on Thursday, when general admission was allowed in, oh my gosh.
That's when you find out that the VIP was worth it.
The doors wasn't open, right? The door wouldn't open till I think it was 10 a.m., but you had to get in by like 7:30, 8 o'clock to get parking. So you would sit around for 2 hours doing nothing. And it was just so many people to the point where it was like you're walking around like this, excuse me, you know, trying to get around all of the areas. And then a lot of people, when they were doing giveaways, that thing it was like Houston traffic at 4 p.m. Just traffic jam up and down. One of the downfalls of the entire event would have to be the service. You would think that like Nationals would make this a priority because we're a lot of people are doing transactions. Not a lot of people carry $10,000-$20,000 on themselves in cash nowadays. We're all digital money, PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, Zelle, whatever the case may be. And there was 0 bars in there. And I had Verizon, and Verizon claims to be the best. And I had 0 bars. Said no single on my phone, along with everybody else. You can't look up comps. You can't see if you're getting a good deal. You can't have any wiggle rooms. It's just, you had to go purely off of what you knew. So what I did is I kind of looked before I went in the morning to see if my cards went up, went down, stayed the same, and then I just went in what I knew.
Yeah.
I think this hurt sellers and buyers on both ends. Not being able to do digital transactions, not being able to sell their cards properly without feeling like they got ripped off. Both ends kind of suffered on that. Overall, the experience was great. I will do it again. I believe that Bill said we're going to Chicago, so let the wives know already. So we're going to go to Chicago. Now, rumor has it, now this is just strictly a rumor, that this is the last year the current contractor has it for the Nationals.
Okay.
And that some group in Virginia has bought out the Nationals contract for, I think, the next 10 to 20 years. And one of the biggest problems that they are having is that currently Chicago and Atlantic City is the alternating states. I mean, who does that leave out? That leaves the whole entire West Coast out.
Yeah.
People on the West Coast are complaining, hey, we need something back over here like it used to be in old time. They used to have it in Anaheim. So I think that the people that are taking it over in Virginia are going to alternate West, Central, East. If that is the case, then that is going to be very, very neat and unique. Can you imagine going back to California and Anaheim, or even going to LA or somewhere around there for this event? Mm-hmm. That would be phenomenal. Not only get to go out to California, but just having to bring it back to the West Coast. East Coast, I would keep it probably. I wouldn't do Atlantic City just simply because of the service, unless they can fix the whole service issue. No, I think I see them going to Florida or Atlanta or possibly New York. And then for the Central, it's only right to say Dallas.
Yeah, it's a hub. I mean, I love Houston, but they got
Dallas is smack in the middle, brings everybody.
And I can attest, K. Bailey Hutchinson Convention Center has good Wi-Fi.
Oh, man.
That's where they have the Dallas Comic-Con, Fan Expo Dallas.
But you're going to have this thing huge.
It's huge.
Now, I have one to the...
That's the one that's attached to the Omni downtown, so it's big. And you have a lot of extra space around that. Well, one thing that would be interesting is if they could have satellite events. I think that might help with a lot of that stuff, where you have... With San Diego, you have the Gaslamp District, and you have all these restaurants and shops doing separate events while this is going on to make it an actual, feel like it's a 4-day
like
festival.
when the Super Bowl comes into town.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
So
that would actually be pretty cool.
So do separate events, separate spaces. You could have bars sponsor trade nights and things like that, and get people kind of out and about, walking around, spending money within the city. That would be an extra incentive for everyone involved, but also just to get people out of that situation where, because who wants to be sitting there just already asleep for 2.5 hours in line and then have to go shoulder to shoulder with people, especially in a place like Atlantic City where things are usually 24 hours. So why would you want you need to space it out. You need to have people in a more relaxed and comfortable state, I think. But if you treated it more like Comic-Con but for sports cards, I can see that working. Because we didn't even go over like the list of names that was there, but we're talking about Hall of Famers, first-time signers. It was insane.
Oh my goodness, it was insane. The list,
Yeah.
the list would cover this whole board right here.
Right.
It was magnificent of how many Hall of Famers you've seen in there. I even got in line for one of my favorite stars, and that's Gary Payton. I got him to sign one of the shoes that he made, and I kept them brand new in a box for years until I was able to get it, and I took advantage of it. So I mean, all the way from like Joe Montana. I've seen Joe Montana, Ricky Williams, Emmitt Smith. Actually, I went to the casino, and I seen Emmitt Smith in there. I was like, oh, this is pretty neat.
Yeah.
I'm a Cowboys fan, so seeing the greatest rusher in all time, to see that is awesome. Michael Irving was there. You had some of the newer stars as well too were in there in the building. We ran into what's his name? He plays for the Celtics. Grant. God, I forgot his name. Anyway, I'll find you the name. But it was definitely something you guys need to do.
Yeah.
Now, what I was saying earlier about TriStar and the location in Houston, it's great. It's really great. But I went to TriStar, I went to Dallas Card Show, and Comic-Con. Was it Comic-Con? Collecticon, that's also in Dallas. And I will have to say, I feel like Dallas is better located for people to come from all different avenues versus us over here in Houston a little bit more in the corner.
Dallas is more of a media hub.
And I seen that in volume of people when I did TriStar and I went to the Dallas Card Show. You seen there was so much more people. It's just because all the interstates roll right through it. You know, Oklahoma's a couple hours away?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I mean, don't sell Houston short because they have had the National Quilting Convention before.
We have.
So, I mean, George R. Brown can hold some pretty exciting stuff.
Oh no, don't get me wrong. No, we do hold some great conventions. I'm just saying for it to be better for everybody around the country, I think Dallas would be ideal. Now they could possibly go Kansas City or St. Louis, but I wouldn't.
I mean, Dallas is a travel hub. They have a lot of press junkets when people are flying between New York and LA to do media stops to promote movies and TV shows. They go to Dallas. Like, it's easy travel in, travel out. Around here, as you know, if you're booking a flight to Houston, from Houston to anywhere else, and it's a one-stop flight, you're stopping in Dallas.
Yeah, it was international.
You're resetting somewhere else. So. I think Dallas, begrudgingly, I'll admit, as a Houstonian, Dallas would be a good place for it. That K. Bailey Hutchinson Center in the middle of the town, connected to the Omni. Boom.
And then there's also, like you said, there's also things to do after the event. Yeah. That was what was so great about this event in Atlantic City is that, it's Atlantic City. You had to be 21 or above to have a great time because you had the casinos, but there was also things that you just didn't have to do casinos. You can go to the boardwalk. You can go to they had this boardwalk, and then they had piers with rides and fun things to do. You didn't have to just go to casinos. So there was a lot of different things to do. Was it the best city? No. But there was still things to do after the event. Myself and JT actually went to the Subway Series at Citi Field and watched the Mets and Yankees go head to head, which was, man, that thing, it's hard to explain. It was like playoff feel.
Yeah,
the
atmosphere.
The atmosphere.
Yeah.
The Yankees and Mets people going at it, but at the end of the day, it was all love because New York is New York. And it was actually a great series. We had a good time out there.
If they ever wanted to push the dates back 2 months for better weather and activities, imagine having at Dallas when you're right across the street from American Airlines, so you have Mavs games, Stars games, and not only that, Texas State Fair.
Yeah, or push it 2 months ahead.
Yeah.
And shoot for like October, and now we can have.
That's what I meant when I said that's what I meant, October.
and Cowboys games too.
Sure.
Yeah, you have it all right there. And if you don't want to go there, you can actually go to Six Flags, which is located right next to the stadiums.
Yeah.
Right there
we're making good points for this.
Yeah.
So
hopefully you guys see this.
Any kind of creator credit on it, that's fine. At least free passes or whatever. Right? But so a lot of the experience of that is exclusives. You mentioned the breaker tables. You did mention the the big boys,
Yes.
Thompson, Panini there. I saw they had promotions there where you like buy boxes and cases and take it to them for like these silver and black packs, and people were pulling insane.
Oh, the silver and gold
101.
national packs. You
Yes.
seen those?
Yes.
Those are really neat.
And I've seen lots of breaks of them, like autos numbered out of 5, out of 1, just insane stuff. A lot of places offered some insane stuff. You guys picked up something from Fanatics.
Oh, yes, we did. We actually picked up a diamond box, Fanatics exclusive diamond box. Only 12 made. We got box number 1.
And how we're going to go through what was in it, but how big was this box? Was it as big as this room? Because there's a lot of stuff.
Probably 4 feet long by 3 feet tall, 2
So
feet
about
tall.
as big as your hotel room in Atlantic City, probably.
No, not quite that big, but
Okay.
it was pretty big. A good, healthy box.
Yeah.
And we got some pretty cool stuff out of it. Back real quick, 1 second to the Nationals. They had silvers and gold packs.
Mm-hmm.
And we had some in here that we allowed our customers to purchase. And one of the biggest ones that came out of it was a 1-of-1 Kawhi Leonard cow auto. So it was like the cow print, 1-of-1 with his autograph. Yes, Kawhi Leonard didn't play last year due to injury. However, he is healthy now. They have, what's his name? He left Houston to go over there and play with them. The point guard from Kentucky. We used to have him on the Houston Rockets. I forgot his name. Oh, my goodness. Paul? No, I can't remember. Not Chris Paul. Okay. John Wall.
Oh, yeah.
John Wall went over there now.
yeah.
Now they're teamed up. Now they have a 3-headed monster over there. So that's going to be a very valuable card here.
Regardless, people love the animal print. The tiger stripes,
You had the tiger
cow,
stripes, the cows, the zebras.
I don't know why, but they
the
love
camos,
They
which
love
are
it.
really cool. They're different colors, awesome super short prints. We do have a few left in silver ones in here, in case you guys want to come in here and grab a few. They're not going to last long. But now to the diamond box.
Mm-hmm.
Diamond box was very expensive.
and this was like mem only, right? This was like
Mem only.
memorabilia. Okay.
Memorabilia only. Just some really neat stuff. Out of the 12 boxes, Fanatics did tell us that there was an out of 12 Tom Brady helmet that you were gunning for. We felt the box was a little heavy, so we took a chance on box number 1. And what did we get? The first,
You got a lot of stuff.
we did get a helmet. All right. We got a helmet of Jonathan Taylor, made by. Give him a little more details.
Oh,
Ken Mark.
okay. So this is an artistic piece. Like we're just gonna
Very
call it that.
phenomenal.
Very great. You have the Indy skyline here. This is obviously a Jonathan Taylor
There you go.
helmet. It's
Indy
signed by
skyline.
Jonathan Taylor.
Indy Skyline. Check that out.
Then if you want to turn it back around to feature where the
Yep.
auto is actually at. So everything was built around this by artist Charles Fazina. And obviously this is a 1-of-1 piece. Like even if you would have made multiple for different players, you can just see everything on here is going to be hand cut 1-of-1. It's crazy.
It is a 1-of-1.
And I'm scared to touch it, so I'm glad you're moving it around. But and it's just, go ahead and read off some of the stuff up there. So interesting.
all these things up here are some of the accomplishments that Jonathan Taylor's had in he's only been in the league for 2 years. He's a 2020 rookie. Definitely led the league last year. One of the best fantasy players to grab. Just throwing that out there. First team All-Pro for 2021. 2 times Doak Walker Award. He made the Pro Bowl in 2021. Remember, last year he really killed it.
Oh, yeah.
2 times unanimous All-American. And 2021 Burt Bell Award.
And also remember,
2021 rushing yards leader, by the way. Well, that's because
he
King
gets
Henry
played.
got injured.
Well, we were in a different frame set. I was going to say because he gets to play the Texans twice guaranteed.
That's who.
I mean that because he kills us.
Dude, he's very, very good at what he does.
Absolutely.
I liked him as a rookie. I told a lot of people, I said, look, this guy is going to be something. They just need a good quarterback. And, after Andrew Luck just miraculously retired, it threw the Colts for a little bit of a loop, and then they bought in Phillips, and they're like, oh, well. And then Phillips retires. They're like, oh, my God, who we're bringing in? I like the move with Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan
Absolutely.
understands an offense.
Yeah.
He's got an arm. Yes, he's a little bit older, but he could still launch it. I think Matt Ryan last year held for the most completions in the NFL last year.
He's still very consistent.
Very consistent.
Absolutely. So, and this was just one of the things in there.
Yeah,
so
this
obviously
was one.
that's like you said, there was
You
12
guys can
boxes.
Check it out and
I
see
see-
the rest of it.
Now, did you get to see the Brady? I assume the Brady was the similar fashion.
No, I did not. I've been looking on the social media site for the breaks of the other people that bought the boxes.
Yeah.
And I've been able to locate like 6 or 7 more, including ours. So that's about 8, 9.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm missing. I need to find 3.
Yeah. Someone's
And-
sitting on that Brady somewhere.
Yeah. One of the boxes I did see open was box number 2.
Uh-huh.
We had the choice between box 1 and box 2 because those were only 2 left. My favorite number is 2. If I was there, I would have told the guys to pick box number 2, but unfortunately I wasn't there. In that box, there was a Super Bowl Tampa Bay autographed Tom Brady winning ticket inside of it, along with a picture of him at the Super Bowl signed. They did get a baseball bat by Fernando Tatis,
Oh, wow.
I believe, which was actually really cool.
Yeah.
And a slew of other things, but just the Tom Brady Super Bowl ticket was enough to make me feel like the box was worth it. But along with this, we also
And
got...
speaking of tickets.
speaking of tickets, but we also have, speaking of Tatis,
Oh, yeah.
let's show them this one. So this is a hand-painted jersey.
This is crazy. Yeah,
Fernando Tatis.
This is definitely one of a kind as well.
Definitely is. Authenticated all the way, has all your Fanatics and all your authenticity for the jersey. I don't know who this was done by. It looks like D. Aracog. Somewhere down there. What do you think about this?
I've seen this done online before. I saw this with a Connor McDavid jersey, and Connor McDavid signed it and gave it away to a lucky fan. So I think this kind of stuff is very cool. Obviously, the helmet was super artistic and handcrafted. Painting is always a fascinating skill to me because I can't even draw a circle good. So it's just like I love this. Tatis is definitely one of the players you want to have. Yes, he's been injury prone. It seems like all the
He's
top
back
young
though.
He
got him.
He is
down in with the Mission, San Diego Mission.
Yes.
personnel.
Yeah. He'll be back, and San Diego's in a great spot because they just picked up Soto, so he's going to be part of that monster for years to come. The only problem is going up against the Dodgers all the time.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's
but-
definitely gonna be the fight for California there.
But as far as this piece, I mean, I don't really unless you know an Astros fan got like an Altuve or something. I don't think there's any other player you would want right now. Maybe like Ohtani, Acuna, Trout, but like Tatis is definitely like that top 5
He definitely is.
collectability wise, and just a really beautiful piece, and probably not done justice on the camera just because you can kind of see like just the subtle
detail.
intricacy and the details of this, and then the signature is beautiful
Yes,
right on that too.
I
It's
love
amazing.
how the artist went ahead and put them behind the 3, but over the 2, so it gives that nice pop right there.
Yeah.
that is really really good artwork right there.
Yeah, adding those extra dimensions like that
Yes.
just really seals it, and that's on an actual jersey.
So yeah, it's an actual jersey.
Which is-
That's why we still have it in a bag. We don't want to
Yeah.
take it out. We're actually going to go ahead and get it framed, believe it or not.
Yeah.
We're going to get it framed. Definitely a one of one. Will it be up for sale? More than likely. Will it be cheap? No.
No, no, we're not.
All right. And like you were saying, speaking of tickets,
Yeah,
we have a really, really neat ticket that we got out of the
I
box.
totally nailed that segue earlier, but anyway,
Yeah.
Here we go. You were talking about the Tom Brady ticket.
Yeah,
Now,
you're right.
This piece is fascinating to me. This is from Zion's debut in the NBA.
Zion's
That's
debut.
crazy.
Has the date and everything on there.
Yeah, versus the Spurs. Wow, hand signed. It says,
January 22nd.
yeah, NBA debut.
$6 for the ticket.
Yeah. There you go.
Section 305. So they're about 3 tier. I'm at the $6 for a ticket. Count me in.
Yeah.
This ticket right here is worth a ton I think it was our most expensive piece in the box.
No, really?
Yes,
Okay.
it was. I thought it would have been the Jonathan Taylor or the Tatis or the next piece that we got them to show, but no, it was actually this piece.
And then not pictured here with us, or what we're not going to show. You got a Bobby Orr puck, which one of the greatest
Bobby
hockey
Orr
players
puck.
of all time.
Yep.
And then some more Mike Tyson memorabilia.
Yes, I think we only had enough room to bring out 4 or 5 pieces.
Sure.
But we thought everybody would like these ones the best.
Yeah, especially we got a little event coming up called the World Cup.
Oh, yes.
And I think this one is going to
really gain some traction.
Oh yeah.
Go ahead, tell them.
And we're not allowed to kick this afterwards, right?
No, we're not.
This is Cristiano Ronaldo.
It sure is.
And this ball is amazing. You mentioned to me like the subtle intricacies of the design, this camo design, Manchester United ball. It is amazing.
It is. I mean, just looking at it, I feel like I got a little piece of Holy Grail in front of me.
Yeah.
You rarely see this gentleman's autograph.
Yeah.
It's probably going to go down as he's going to go down as one of the best. Of course, he's going to be a Hall of Famer. He's still got a lot left in him, along with Messi. So I mean, we're going to see them going back and forth all the time. But to say the least, this is a great piece here to have in the shop.
And I would imagine, speaking of difficulty in finding comps because of bad Wi-Fi, I'm sure it's hard to find comps on this.
It is. I definitely think this is probably it's not numbered, but I don't think there's many out there. I think maybe about 10 to 20.
Yeah.
Autographed, and it's got like a camo. I don't know if the camera does it any justice, but it's got like a little bit of a camo print on there, which definitely makes it a little bit tougher to comp on this.
Sure.
But I definitely think we're gonna probably keep this in the shop though. Probably not gonna sell it.
At least keep it to the World Cup.
Yeah.
But no, this thing pops. You got the Manchester United red and gold on there. Really cool design and clean signature on the ball.
It is.
So, I don't know. Did you ever get to see a checklist of all the boxes, or is that kind of what you're going?
No, they
through
told
and
us.
trying to find?
They told us the biggest piece, and they said, look, each box has at least X amount of dollars worth in there. There's one piece, which is the Tom Brady out of 12, that is worth five figures by itself.
Yeah.
So that's, of course, what everybody was gunning for. So we knew what the ceiling was. We didn't know what the floor was. But it seemed like the floor was not bad at all because we got a lot of nice stuff.
I don't know that you got the floor. Like, that's why I was kind of wondering what,
I think,
if this was like a mid-range, I mean, you did all right.
I think the floor was probably maybe the puck, simply because not a lot of people do a lot of hockey, which,
right.
Down here in Houston, we rarely see any type of cold weather, so I don't blame them. But, maybe it might be more valuable to somebody a little bit more up north than down here.
Sure.
But I would say that was probably the floor right there. But that was a Hall of Famer, so, I mean, we'll take that too.
Well, I just meant everything combined. I think you did all right.
I think we did good. Yeah, I think we did good. I honestly think we did fairly well, and then we're going to put some of these pieces up in the shop. So if you guys get a chance, come by and see it in person. Now, again, we can't kick it around. You can't wear the helmet and then nothing like that, all right? I will let you see it, but you can't, be crazy with it.
Yeah, you can't try to get into a Pelicans game this year.
Yeah.
Ticket. But also, this is very cool, the ticket.
I love it.
Again, over here. Simply because tickets are a big thing right now.
They are.
Like, they're really coming up in the game, and especially, like, this obviously isn't a vintage ticket, but the fact that it's encapsulated by Beckett and authenticated, very cool.
And it being his first game.
Yeah.
And with a lot of the hype coming around for this new season of him getting back into shape, losing weight, recovering from his injury, this ticket here could be, like, monster come a few years, depending on how well he does.
And the inscription, in addition to his autograph. Inscriptions are always a big deal. That just makes it more unique. Well, it sounds like you had a good time minus the Wi-Fi.
Minus the Wi-Fi, had a phenomenal time. Yeah, the crowd. I mean, it's good to see that the hobby is still alive, even after the recession, even after the inflation. We still have big crowds. That is really, really good, not only for business, but also for the hobby itself. The Wi-Fi is what really killed the whole thing. Like I said, will I ever be a vendor at this thing? No way. No way. I would hate to be a vendor at this because there's so many people. And I just couldn't keep my eyes on everybody. So, will I do it again? Like I said earlier, yes.
Yeah.
We're planning to go to Chicago. We want to see what Chicago holds.
Now, those trade nights were probably a little bit too intense for you, right? But you guys have trade nights here.
Yes, we do have trade nights here. We're actually having a trade night this Sunday, the 14th, from 1 to 4. The last one turned out really, really well, to the point where everybody's like, hey, look, this is a great day and a great time. We're coming back. So make sure you guys come by.
And I want to add, no complaints about the Wi-Fi.
Yeah, no, definitely no complaints about the Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi is perfect. The weather's perfect. Great crowds, great people. It's not crowded in here neither. So come by this Sunday between 1 to 4 and come trade. Make sure, now there are a couple rules to our trading. You can't bring sealed wax in here and try to sell it. We'll buy it from you, but you can't sell it to another. This is trade night for cards. Trade cards. Don't trade wax for cards or etc. Come and have fun.
Absolutely,
yeah,
because that's what it's all about.
That's
and
what
I think
it's all
you guys
about.
are doing a great job up here building that community.
Well, thank
like
you.
said. So,
we're still not done. Still not done. We're just tip of the iceberg here, guys. Tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, and the report card program sounds awesome. So that's gonna be a real big hit. I can tell.
And
you.
I did that because we're family.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the hobby is about being family. This is what we are. This is our identity. We want to go ahead and make sure everybody knows that. So another reason why I did do that was because of the fact that the card hobby, this hobby has transitioned a little bit more into a business for most people. Back in the day where I used to run a 7-Eleven and get me a pack of Pokemon cards for $2, me and my 3 friends.
Yeah.
So like back then we didn't know the value of it. I wish we would have kept that Charizard though, I tell you.
Right.
But we didn't know the value. We were just collecting because it was collecting. And before it gets too far and gone from the little ones growing up, I want them to understand how it is to be a collector first versus a buyer or seller second. So that's another reason why I wanted to encourage more kids to come in. I give them a little bit more incentive to do good outside of the shop. Families love that. They bring them in and we go ahead and we open up some great cards. So that's why I did that. And that's why we did that.
Yeah.
Again, we're all about family.
Very cool. And again, this is a great time to get into the hobby because football, nothing like the preseason football and people are just trying to predict what's going to happen with all these players.
I have a few predictions that I'm holding, but we'll see how that pans out.
Because you don't want to be competing with everyone to pick up all these singles. So that's part of what it's all about. It's just fun.
And we also added the singles collection out here. So you can come in and pluck singles if you want to do any type of wax. $1 cards, $5 cards, $10 cards. Buy a few, get a few free. I mean, we're just kind of giving out to everybody. Not for free, though.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love having seen this thing, take shape over the last year or so.
Yeah.
You are really building out a special place and a good place for the community, get kids, involved. We've been over that and just very cool. So come check it out at the Adventure Stadium above Adventure Begins Comic Games here in Conroe. For Lou, I'm Mark, and this has been Cards to Yards. See you next time.
Have a good one.
Well, gang, that's all for today's episode. So join us next week. Cars to Yards, brought to you by the Adventure Stadium and the Adventure Begins. Again, we're located off 1488 and Woodland Square Boulevard. See you next time.